On this show, I like to shine a light on professional wrestling video games. The all-time greats are a joy to cover because we get to relive some of our favorite memories together, right? Even the lower end of the spectrum. They're not good, but it doesn't hurt to goof on the garbage once in a while either. Nothing on Triangle X Squared Circle is ever purposely hateful. I don't like to scream about projects that were failures from the stance of, I hope you all lose your jobs, I'm glad your studio closed, or anything like that. Those people exist, for sure. Some of them have channels that are a lot bigger than mine. Hey, good luck with that. That's never gonna be me. And while I'll never celebrate a studio closure or rejoice that someone's art crashed and burned, I do have to be honest in my criticisms. And with honesty at the forefront, I have to tell you that today's game, MTV's Celebrity Deathmatch, might be the absolute worst piece of garbage I will ever cover on this show. We'll get into the deep, dark details of who made this trash, where it came from, and what happened next. But just know ahead of time, this one is a doozy, to say the least. Welcome to Triangle X Squared Circle, the wrestling game retrospective series. Every video here on 616 Entertainment is made possible by my supporters over on Patreon. If you enjoyed the show here today, consider signing up. You'll get early access, exclusive videos and podcasts, and more. Pro Wrestling Tees has the merch. As always, thank you for watching. Just to be clear, before we get into the background details and origins of the project, this is the type of gameplay we're dealing with.
Michael Flatley would be proud.
And now that you've seen that, you might have a better idea of what I meant when I said this might actually be the worst game I've ever brought to the show. But how does this happen? How do we wind up with a final product like this?
Beans, the musical fruit. The level of self-loathing is just incredible.
How does this make it to store shelves? Goodness gracious. The development team behind MTV's Celebrity Deathmatch was Big 8 Productions. If you recognize that name, maybe you're a longtime fan of this show, because I've spoken about Big 8 Productions at length. Why? Because they were the team who brought us The Simpsons Wrestling. God damn it. Okay, well, with that in mind, we should have seen this coming, right? Up until this point, I would call The Simpsons Wrestling the lowest of the low, the bottom of the barrel, the shit on your shoe. Can Celebrity Deathmatch keep its head above those septic sewer waters, or will we crown a new undisputed champion of trash? And yes, I like to show off the physical copies of the games sometimes because people ask if I'm using emulators or any of that sort of thing. No, I always use shoot physical copies and real hardware. And that means that I do have to spend my own money on games like this. I probably shouldn't have come this far without introducing the source material. I know my audience skews around my age, 20s, 30s, 40s. You guys probably all know about Celebrity Deathmatch, right? The television series introduced in 1998. If you've never heard of it or have never seen it, it's exactly what it sounds like. In some sense. It was a 30-minute claymation animated show where famous people would fight to the death.
Stallone takes it on the shoulder. Get out of my ring. Schwarzenegger has done it.
The first appearance of the concept aired in 1997 on an MTV special called Cartoon Sushi. It was a one-off segment that pitted rock star Marilyn Manson against convicted criminal Charles Manson. This skit went over huge with audiences and, in short order, was adapted into its own show, which ran for 4 years totaling 75 episodes. Everyone appeared on this show. The Spice Girls took on Hanson. We saw Tim Allen versus Jerry Seinfeld. Hell, Stone Cold versus Mr. McMahon even took place in the Celebrity Deathmatch ring. Man, these were good times. This was one of the shows to watch back then. Was I a little too young for some of the humor? Sure, but a good deal of it sailed straight over my head anyway, so who cares? It's funny, coming back and watching some of these, you forget just how insulting shows like this used to be. Celebrity Deathmatch was huge. I watched it, my friends watched it, we were always looking forward to the next fight, hoping that our favorite actor or musician would show up. And then, of course, we would be pissed off when they would show up and they would lose their fight. It's a concept that begged to be turned into a video game. The question is, who would sign up for something like this? Which celebrity would say, like, oh yeah, go ahead, put me in there? And that is a whole different conversation. I learned through my research that, according to the show's creator, Eric Fogel, they didn't need anybody's permission to feature them on the show. The First Amendment includes and protects satire as free speech. Celebrities, ever present in the public eye, are apparently free to lampoon at any given moment. That's a little crazy to me, but whatever. I don't care enough to really pick apart what is or isn't kosher about that, you know? There were celebrities annoyed about their presentation on the show, namely Jennifer Lopez, who was upset that they portrayed her with a Hispanic accent, while others were overjoyed. Eric Fogel stated that Steven Spielberg sent him a fruit basket after his fight against Alfred Hitchcock, even joking that he demanded a rematch. I can't confirm whether or not the playable roster of the video game were used with permission, or if they fell under parody/satire, but I would assume this was created under an agreement. I mean, look who we have here. Anna Nicole Smith, Tommy Lee, Shannon Doherty, Jerry Springer, Miss Cleo from the fucking TV psychic scam bullshit, Carrot Top, Cindy Margolis, Ron Jeremy, Dennis Rodman, Carmen Electra, Mr. T, Busta Rhymes, Marilyn Manson, NSYNC. Come on. These, for the most part, are not A-list names. The game came out in 2003. Many of these people were far past their peak of popularity. Several of them were considered washed-up jokes of a bygone era. That sounds harsh. I'm not saying that's how I feel, but that was how the business treated them. If Big A Productions had the freedom of satire to put anyone in the game, I think we would have had the biggest names possible. I think we would have seen Johnny Depp and Brad Pitt, Jennifer Aniston, Britney Spears, Eminem. Come on. That would have been something. But that's not what we got here. We'll get into the gameplay in a second, but I want to focus for a minute on one of this title's only strengths. And strengths might be pushing it, to be honest. But we're gonna find compliments where we can. On the show, commentators Johnny Gomez and Nick Diamond were a highlight. And I have to say, their wit and charm is given room to shine here in the game.
He's gonna lay some bling bling on your ding ding. It's Busta Rhymes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner.
Hell, that was easy. Wow, what a fight.
I must say, Johnny, that was really something.
Well, we're out of time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Good fight, good night.
What an incredibly exciting fight. I tell you, Johnny, it's action like that that makes me want to go backstage and rub one out.
The series referee, Judge Mills Lane, is also present, and he rules too.
I want a good, clean fight, and there'll be no bodyguards around to break this up. This is a fight to the death. Okay, fighters ready? Now let's boogie down.
And that's about it. I think those are all the nice things that I have to say about Celebrity Deathmatch. I mean, outside of the fatality moves, but we'll get to those in just a minute. Let's dive into the overall gameplay. We've built up to it long enough. Let's take a look. The gameplay is fucking terrible. Square, triangle, and X seem to do striking attacks, I guess. You'd think I'd be able to give a straight answer on that, but I really can't. The buttons seem to do different things at different times. It's really bizarre. Circle is a grapple move of sorts, but again, sometimes your character will just do a different grapple move. Filling your MTV meter, which is accomplished by doing damage, taking damage, or taunting, allows you to hit a super move by pressing R2. These are alright, some of them are kind of fun to look at a time or two.
Shannon is a ferocious tiger. The opponent is a tiny thing.
Nick, it's raining.
I don't really understand this horror-themed stuff for Cindy Margolis. I had to look at her filmography to be sure, and almost none of it has anything to do with horror. So I have no idea. What does Anna Nicole Smith do? Well, she'll bash her huge titties into your head. She'll sit on your face and fart.
Keep your fist up.
All this game does is make fun of her and call her fat and a pig, which is... wow.
Now entering the ring, weighing in at a lot, Anna Nicole Smith.
The fatality moves, or kill moves, I guess. Nobody else can really call them fatalities, right? These can be fun.
This fight is over. Good night, Irene.
No contest. Fight's over.
I think they could have come up with something better for Marilyn Manson than having some weird devil boy pull the opponent into a pentagram, but whatever. But Dennis Rodman ripping your head off and slam dunking it, that is awesome. All the members of NSYNC teaming up to rip you to pieces, excellent. I really love Tommy Lee pulling your intestines out and playing them like they're guitar strings, while the pyro explodes in the background. So good. And hey, more compliments, how about it? Let's bounce from here straight into the episodes mode, which is basically your story or career sort of deal. Is it really cool that the different stages or episodes are laid out like this is the TV Guide channel? Yes, it is. That got me. Each and every fight across all 7 episodes gets a full introduction from Johnny Gomez and Nick Diamond, which adds to the authenticity.
It's the Busty versus the Buster, the Sweet versus the Meat, and a main event that'll pop your top tonight on Celebrity Deathmatch. Hello everyone, I'm Johnny Gomez, and this is Celebrity Deathmatch.
And I'm Nick Diamond. Thanks for joining our show. Everyone knows TV is good for your mind, and so are video games. And through the miracle of technology, we've mixed them together.
I hope our fighters went number 1 and number 2, or it's gonna get messy. Tonight's fight card will blow your minds.
First up tonight, Anna Nicole Smith and Busta Rhymes get a little jungle fever and try to cure it with a dose of sexually charged, pent-up frustration. Then, a man I've admired for many years is going to add another babe to his belt. And last but not least, we have a ferocious main event. Shock rocker Marilyn Manson is going to square off against the annoying comedian Carrot Top in a fight to claim the title of the world's most perilous pale person.
Mills can't keep the carnage bottled up any longer. Let's pop this cork.
Nothing really carries over from one episode to the next, so it's really just a list of fights. We're not seeing a story play out or anything, which is a bit disappointing, but what can you do? I'll tell you what you can do. You can unlock new characters and arenas by playing through Episodes mode. There's a strange connection here with the classic Universal monsters like the Wolfman, the Mummy, and Frankenstein's monster. The Bride even appears in the monster's finishing move. I don't know what the connection is. MTV is owned by Paramount, not Universal. And Universal are usually pretty protective of their iterations of these monsters, so the Bride being here, straight out of the 1935 film, that's a head-scratcher. The main event of Episode 5 is Frankenstein vs. the Wolfman, which could be seen as a sequel to the 1943 film.
And in the main event, Frankenstein's monster and the Wolfman find out who is the scariest old-school, scary movie monster.
This is really fucking cool to a classic monster fan like myself, but it's a shame that it's trapped inside a game as bad as Celebrity Deathmatch. We can also unlock Cousin Grimm and battle-tested versions of our commentators here in this mode, as well as this strange alien. Jesus, this looks completely unfinished. I have done my best here today to put over as many aspects of this game as possible. It's not my goal here today to relentlessly shit on this thing. That's not what I'm trying to do. It just sucks. There's nothing I can do about that. With that said, I would now like to focus on a handful of things that are complete dog shit. You might have picked up on this if you're a big wrestling game fan, or maybe you didn't. I don't know how observant you are, but look, Celebrity Deathmatch feels like Big Ape Productions popped in a few PS1 wrestling games and just went, oh, okay, let's do that. This character select screen is pulled straight from the WCW Nitro and Thunder games, all the way down to pressing the square button to have the character cut a promo.
I pity your opponent.
Well, I'm gonna whip some ass.
Thanks for choosing me. Now go buy my albums.
Thanks for choosing little old me, sugar butt. Oh, so you like bad girls, do you?
The Create a Celebrity menu is pulled straight from WWF Warzone, going down to the basement. Side story, I read online that entering a created character's name as Adam Sandler would unlock him, so I skeptically tried it, and it doesn't work. I just turned this guy into my buddy the artist, and damn it to hell, I feel like I did a pretty good job. Create a Celebrity sucks, by the way. There are like 4 different outfits you can put together. The artist just so happens to wear these clothes from time to time, so it was easy.
That's it! Fight's over!
One thing that I find ridiculous is that there's practically no music to speak of across this entire experience. Unless you count the 1-second clips that play when the NSYNC guys hit a move, which gets old very quickly.
Incredible. Oh!
It's not just about killing celebrities, but how you move.
The tomb level is surrounded by acid. The Big Kahuna has a lava moat. There are some very cool stage hazards here, none of which work at all. These are just for show. Exiting the fighting platform is not possible in any way. Ugh. I owned Celebrity Deathmatch as a teenager. I don't really remember where I got it. I may have bought it for myself. It might have been a gift. I think it was only $20 at launch, but I could be wrong about that. Look, the point is this. You're not seeing my first experiences with this game. I owned it when I was a kid, and I hated it. I knew then, at 13, 14 years old, that this shit was garbage, and that's a shame. It really is, because the concept of Celebrity Deathmatch is amazing. It should have been so easy to turn this into something fun, and that's just not here at all. As previously stated, MTV's Celebrity Deathmatch video game released on October 14th, 2003, and it reviewed about as well as you'd imagine. You'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who has anything positive to say about it. And it's not because there's some vendetta against the IP, it's just that this game is a piece of shit. It's poorly designed. I really can't even do justice to how unresponsive each and every character feels. It's awful. Truly terrible. Do not play it. Do not track down a copy on eBay. Don't waste your time or money. I'm sorry to be so negative, but holy shit, this is trash. Somehow, probably based on name recognition alone, Celebrity Deathmatch sold just under 1 million copies, but that wasn't good enough to save anyone. Developer Big Ape Productions went out of business just a few months after the game's release, and even publisher Gotham Games folded at the same time. There is no happy ending to the story, but there is the final question. Is Celebrity Deathmatch the worst game I've ever covered on Triangle X Squared Circle? Well, all things considered, I think I'd have to say no. The finishing moves, cool level designs, and classic monsters alone are enough to keep Celebrity Deathmatch just the tiniest bit above The Simpsons Wrestling, which was also developed by Big Ape Productions. Rest in peace, you fucking lunatics. Oh, there it is, Dan-Dans. That's my Triangle X Squared Circle retrospective on MTV's Celebrity Deathmatch. If you enjoyed this video, you can support me over on Patreon or right here under a YouTube channel membership, if you so desire. Next time out, it's WWE 2K Battlegrounds. But until then, I love ya. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.